things that I noticed in the commentaries is that they alluded to the idea that God wanted us to know that even though David did what David did, he was still counted as David the king. He committed adultery, he sinned. But the promise to David still stood. God said to David, and you and I saw it in 2 Samuel chapter 7, I promise you a line, I promise you a throne, I promise you a house, and I promise you a kingdom. God, but I sinned. Oh, that does not negate the promise, David. The covenant still stands. And we can look back and say, but God, don't you realize what David did? Don't you realize the sin that he committed? And God says the promise and the covenant that I made with David is not altered nor negated because of his sin. The promise still stands. I hope that you and I realize that the promise given to you and me is not altered nor negated based on our personal character.
Amen.
A lot of times you'll hear people asking, preacher, if I've sinned, am I still saved? If I've sinned, am I still going to heaven? Jesus said, in my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I've gone to prepare a place for you. There is promise after promise that God said, if you have accepted me, if you have trusted me, I promise you, I will bring you home to heaven. That promise cannot be negated nor altered based on our personal character. Because salvation, now understand this, salvation is not based on nor determined by our personal character.
Yes, sir.
Our salvation is based on Jesus' personal character.
Amen.
If he had sinned, then that promise could be altered and negated. But he did not sin. So whether or not I sin, and my personal character does not alter nor negate the promise given. The promise, the testament stands upon Jesus Christ and his person, not upon Dan Alexoff and his person.